Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
Welcome to Big Bet, the sports wagering show from coast to coast and worldwide, highlighting the matchups, betting lines, and totals, and all you need to make the right decision. It's Big Bet, focusing our attention on the winning bet. Live from San Diego, it's Big Bet. All right, we are here live in San Diego on a Sunday morning, straight up 8 o'clock. Hope you turned your clocks back. We welcome you to the WS Radio Network. We're universal on this Sunday morning. A lot of folks outside our country listening to the radio program, like in Venezuela and Puerto Rico. And so for those who have tuned in and found out about Big Bet, as well as Track Talk, which will follow, we'll talk all about the Breeders' Cup that Tommy D and I were a part of yesterday and Friday, to be exact, up there at Santa Anita. But we got to try to switch gears this morning without any doubt about that, because this is another week in the NFL. That's right. The National Football League is moving so quick in regard to how fast this season is playing through that we're in week number 9. Think about that. It just seemed like yesterday that we were just talking about the opening week of the NFL, and already we're in week number 9. So the slate is clear, and if you've been listening to Big Bet, small, medium, large proportions of our broadcast since we started, you know, the talking heads on here have been very, very good in selections. And our motto is that if you're losing, you're not listening. And today is going to be a great case, because we're going to do a lot of listening today. And we're going to be talking about the games that are on the docket, some very, very cruel and cool games on. I mean, for some teams that really need to turn it on, or their season is by the wayside. We go up the road, up the freeway to Tommy D. Tommy D is still hunkered down in Anaheim, California, post-Breeders' Cup experience. Tommy D, welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Breeders' Cup hangover here a little bit. What a great day, but we're talking football today. You know, a little bit of college football action, just to recap. Yesterday, Clemson rolls past Wofford. That Clemson schedule's pretty weak. Georgia, big win over Florida. Oregon beating USC, you know, proving that they maybe need to be up there. Also, Utah, you know, Felix. Memphis, SMU, I caught the end of that game. Wow, what an explosive game there. And Notre Dame was a shocker to me. Squeaked by Virginia Tech last minute. And also Baylor barely getting by also, Felix. So what a great day in college football yesterday. Kind of mixing up the picture a little bit. Nothing too dramatic in that picture, but, you know, Oregon and Georgia definitely trying to move up in that picture.
Yeah, without any doubt about that. Oregon has been a team that I've been talking about for a couple weeks. I've been trying to get Hut to buy into Oregon. And Utah's another team that, you know how I feel about the Utes. They went up into Pullman in Seattle, and they beat the Huskies yesterday. And so Utah and Oregon really advanced. Georgia took care of Florida. And so, like, Tommy D, let's be honest with our audience. We're talking like we know what we're talking about. You know, you and I were inundated with horse racing at Santa Anita. The Breeders' Cup Friday and Saturday. So we're catching up. But I know somebody who hasn't been away from staying in the zone, and that's Bob Hutton. We're going to go to him in 1 second, but I want to just set the table about college football. Alabama, okay, give them the benefit of the doubt. They were one of my top 4 teams. Clemson, as you mentioned, Tommy D, I don't know if beating Wofford really adds to the resume. I really don't think it improves its chances. LSU, the showdown next weekend in Tuscaloosa, where they will play Alabama. So LSU's my 3rd team. Ohio State, to me, still looks like the best team I've seen in 100 years in college football. And we go to the desert in Phoenix, Arizona, and we are joined with Hut. Bob Hutton on a Sunday morning. Hut, how are you?
Pretty good, Felix. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Tell me how you're really doing.
I'm doing good.
All right.
Doing all right. Spent the last 2 days watching the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah. No football yesterday? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of football, but I own a lot of horses. I'm into the industry quite a bit, so I'm just it's a big day for everybody, and the racing at Santa Anita was pretty good as far as handicapping was concerned, and it was a shame to see that horse that got hurt in the last race, had to be euthanized, but they could do all they want to as far as the sport is concerned, and just like on Sunday, athletes get hurt and equine athletes get hurt, and it's part of the business, and it's heartbreaking, but it's just part of the deal.
Yeah, it is. There's no method or method to the madness or anything that you can actually add to that situation. That's the ugly part of the game we love. And I'm not so sure that this is in track talk rather than big bet, because all of a sudden that's where my focus, because I've been involved. Bob Hutton, you've been involved in thoroughbred horse racing, Tommy D as well. And I want to shift sights and move forward. I want to talk a little bit about teams that might have helped themselves yesterday and teams that might have hurt themselves yesterday. So I don't believe Minnesota played, so they still remain unbeaten. One of the unbeatens got tamed by the Tigers from Memphis in a game that I think you mentioned, Tommy D, which was in a very, very exciting football game. And obviously I didn't see it, but we've been talking about SMU and Memphis and in that conference for a long time. Hut, I was going to ask you, who helped themselves yesterday? I think Clemson, with the win over Wolford, as funny as it may seem, might have hurt themselves with that 59-14 win. But I have a vision of who helped themselves yesterday in my mind. Who do you think, Hut, in college football helped themselves?
Georgia helped themselves yesterday.
I agree.
And Oregon helped themselves yesterday with a decisive win. They both helped themselves yesterday. There's a few teams that didn't really help themselves that were undefeated this week. As far as Appalachia State got beat, they had won like 13 games in a row.
Correct.
And they got beat at home. Baylor got by a probably, if you said average West Virginia team, you'd be nice, by 3 points the other night. They didn't look good. And then SMU, they got beat last night, but that was just a matter of time. I mean, that Memphis team's, they're pretty high-powered as far as that was concerned. I don't think Clemson, it might have been better if Clemson had a bye, Felix, because
yeah, you're right.
There's no upside to playing Wolford. There's just not. And I think, I don't know why the AD would schedule a game like this, and, I might understand the first game of the season or something like that, but in the middle of the season playing Wolford, I just don't understand it. So, I would say the two teams that helped themselves were probably, and Utah. I mean, Utah's,
that's right, baby.
We've talked about Utah. Utah's
That's
very
right,
defensively is very good. Even they gave up points, but Utah, Oregon, and that's going to be
That's
a very
right,
big game at the end of the season, Felix.
That's right,
Oregon
baby.
and Utah.
That's right,
Yep.
baby. That's right, baby. That's all I say. That's right, baby. That's right, baby. Utah, their quarterback, they got a quarterback now that is very, very good. They were down in that game yesterday. I kept an eye on the crawler on the board in the television, to see where they were. They were down like 17-3. So, you're right. There's Clemson. I don't know. I don't think they're a top 4 team, and you've touched upon it all by yourself on many occasions. Hut, where you've said, you know what, you haven't been impressed. Okay, so the outsiders looking in. Georgia, Penn State, Auburn, which Georgia plays Auburn next weekend. LSU plays Alabama. You know, Georgia might sneak in there with a little luck, because if Georgia beats Auburn, then what's that dude for the Oregon Ducks who played Auburn in the first game of the year? If Auburn beats Georgia, does that strengthen Oregon's position? Auburn moves up, but Oregon with one loss, and Oregon's only loss, I can't remember who they lost to right now. Do you know?
It was to Auburn, the first game of the year.
Oh, that's
it was to Auburn, the first game of the year.
Exactly.
Yep.
So that's their only loss. Okay, and because I'm getting confused with Utah. Utah's only loss was at USC, and so
USC, right?
Yeah, so this Oregon team, Tommy D, this Oregon team is fast. You know, they are fast and quick. They don't waste any time moving the ball down the field and getting into the end zone. And by the way, I think they might have one of the best, if not the very best quarterback in the whole entire country, Tommy D.
Yeah, this Oregon team, and I agree with you. They're very dynamic, and, you know, they've been improving throughout the year. And, you know, quarterback play, as we always speak on the show, very important. But, you know, their defense pretty good, too. Oregon, I think, is one of those teams you got to watch out. You know, beating USC, a pretty bad USC, pretty good, 56-24 yesterday. But still, they were on the road, and, you know, to put up a performance like that, they're trying to show everybody that they could come in and they want to get in that top four. So Oregon's going to keep pushing for the Pac-12, try to make it in. Felix, we'll see.
Well, the first committee in the first group will be announced on Tuesday night, so we'll find out. Let's go to the board today. Wow. How do you like this docket of NFL teams week number 9? Would you grade it for us, if you would, please?
A, B, C, D, I would give it a C-.
Really? Why?
Oh, well, I mean, you've got Washington going into Buffalo, which couldn't get you too excited. And then you've got Tennessee and Carolina, probably one of the better games. Then you got Chicago going into Philly. Chicago is defense or offense is in disarray. Then you have the biggest game of the day, the Jets against Miami. And then you go into Indy playing Pittsburgh, and they're playing without Hilton. You know, I mean, it's just and then you got Cleveland playing Denver, and Denver's Flacco's out, and they've got tons of offensive issues. Just not a very exciting slate for me as far as that was concerned. I think I see some opportunities to make some plays, but not the best slate I've ever seen.
Why you want to hurt Tommy D's feelings by saying, you know, the Jets and the Dolphins, that a game of the day? Why you want to do that to him?
It wasn't directed at him. It was directed. It was directed
All right,
at the team.
Tommy D, the Jets and the Dolphins, my man. The Jets and the Dolphins. I mean, are you going to wear blindfolds watching this game, Tommy D, and just listen to the audio?
No, I'm going to watch it. I'm a Dolphin fan. This might be our only chance to get a win this year. I don't want to go winless, Felix. I say go Dolphins at home. Fitzpatrick's going to bring the energy like he always does. Their defense isn't that bad. We'll see. They might be able to beat the Jets today. I wouldn't be putting any action on the game. Both teams are bad, but, hey, Felix, I just want to get that one win. I don't want to go winless this year.
Yeah, I hear you, bro. All right, Houston and Jacksonville Jaguars are playing in Wembley Stadium in London. 9-3, Texans are leading at the half. Jacksonville was a 1.5 underdog in this game, and that's where it opened up. And now they went to the favorite, -1 in 46. Washington is at Buffalo. The Bills are 10.5 in 37. The Titans at the Panthers. The Panthers are 3.5 in 42.5. The Bears at the Eagles. The Eagles are 5 in 41. Minnesota in Kansas City. Minnesota is 4.5 in 46. Mahomes will not play for the Chiefs. The Jets and the Dolphins. The Jets. How can anybody be favored in this game? The Jets are 3.5 favored over the Dolphins, the total 42. The Colts go to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's 1.5. The Steelers are favored by 1.5. The total was at 40. Lions and the Raiders. The Raiders are 3-51. Tampa Bay and Seattle. Seattle's 4.5 and 51. The Browns at the Broncos, and the Browns are 4-39. Man, Bob, I see you were kind to get graded a C here, because I'm thinking, like, do I have laundry, any Christmas shopping I got to do right after the 10 o'clock show? I mean, what can I do instead of being led? But, you know, the Colts and the Steelers do start 1 o'clock Eastern. Packers are at the Chargers. Now, I want to tell you, I don't know if you understand the situation at the StubHub up there in Carson, but I guarantee you that the colors of the Chargers are blue and yellow, or whatever color, blue and gold. Okay? You ain't going to see any blue and gold in that stadium today. The Packers have taken over Carson. Not like the Steelers did 3 or 4 weeks ago, but let me tell you something. I assure you, matter of fact, we will give some sort of prize out to anybody who can identify a Charger fan at the StubHub Center today against the Packers. The Packers coming in 4-point favorites and 48.5. And then tonight, I think this is the game of the day. The Patriots and the Ravens. The Patriots are 3 and 44.5. Hut, what are you going to be doing right after the program, the show today? Are you going to hunker down and watch some football games?
I'm actually going to watch some football, and then I'm going to I've got a car being delivered today, and then I'm going to our dear friend Al Bianchi's. There's a service for him today for friends and family, and then tomorrow's a funeral. So just kind of a sombering day.
Yeah, glad you brought that up, and I want to dedicate this show to my friend Al Bianchi. I go back a long way with Al Bianchi when I worked with the San Diego Clippers in 1981. I met Al Bianchi as an assistant to Johnny McLeod for the Phoenix Suns, and I remember that our friendship lasted. It was immediate, and it lasted over the years. And I was in Vegas for a Kentucky Derby broadcast, and I happened to run into Al at Caesar's Palace. And we spent a lot of time from that point on venturing up into getting involved with thoroughbred horse racing. That's how much he loved it. He would come to Del Mar every year. We spent a lot of times on the road going to Hollywood Park and back when Hollywood Park was running. Al Bianchi was a general manager. He was the general manager of the New York Knicks. He was the first NBA basketball coach for the Seattle Supersonics when that expansion team developed up in the Pacific Northwest. Al Bianchi was responsible for signing Dr. J, Julius Erving, when he was at the Virginia Squires, and also George Gervin to boot. Al Bianchi's life was basketball, but more so than anything else, Al Bianchi's life was about horse racing. He loved to have a cigar. He loved to go out to the paddock. He loved to be at Del Mar. Matter of fact, he rented the house for years and years and years, coming from Phoenix on Coast Boulevard in Del Mar. And each and his different friends would take a week. It was a duplex, and they were all NBA connected because Al was an NBA scout for many, many years. He worked with the Warriors. I think he worked with the Pacers. He worked with a lot of different teams, and he was, as I mentioned, the general manager of the New York Knicks when Rick Pitino was the head coach there. And Al will be missed. Al will be missed on a lot of ways. I'll miss Al, and I do miss Al. And I stayed in touch with him. I missed him at Del Mar. He was in and out for a short period of time this summer, and I knew that he wasn't feeling well. He was in and out of the hospital. But Bob Hutton, there are a lot of people that come into our lives, and Al Bianchi was a good one, was he not?
Oh, he was. You know what? The one word that comes to mind when you talk about Al is gentleman. He's just truly a gentleman. He's just a very nice guy. Called it as it was. Good family man. I've got to know some of his kids. They're real good kids. You can usually tell what kind of guy somebody is by the kind of kids he raises. So I just, he was a true gentleman. He loved basketball, but he was passionate about racing. I mean, he loved horse racing, and not as a big bettor. He wasn't a big bettor. Al would go ahead. I'd see him bet, $2, $4, $5 exacta boxes, and he just liked the aspect of handicapping and trying to map out what was going to happen. And maybe, as far as a gentleman is concerned, maybe one of the easiest going guys you've ever been around. I mean, when you're around Al, there was no stress or uncomfortableness or anything like that. Al was so down to earth and gave a lot of time and as far as the people. And I know when Frank Johnson was the head coach for the Suns that Frank called Al to help him, and Al did it. And then I found out later he didn't get paid. He just did it because he was trying to help Frank, and the Suns wouldn't pay him. But he still went on the road, and this is not when Al was a young guy. This was he had to be in his 70s back then. But a true gentleman, just a great guy, and I know that. Matter of fact, he loved racing so much, Felix, that he wanted any of the donations made in his honor to go to the Permanent Disabled Jockey Fund, which most people that aren't in racing wouldn't even think about that. But that's where Al's head was.
He was special. He was special, and you're triggering a lot of memories when you talk about him. And he was in the Phoenix Suns organization for many, many years when Jerry Colangelo ran that organization. Cotton Fitzsimmons, and then Johnny McLeod, and Johnny McLeod passed away, I do believe, and so now they're both in heaven coaching basketball. But I could remember a couple instances when Jerry Tarkanian, my best friend in the whole freaking universe, and Al Bianchi and I were at Spica in Del Mar. And I'm a kid from Western Pennsylvania who grew up loving basketball. And I'm sitting with these two legends, and I'm listening to them talk. And I'm listening to them, really listening to them going back and just talking about players that they coached and players that they developed and situations that they were in. And I could remember leaving there wanting so much more. Here was Tark talking about his great years in Vegas with the 90-91 Larry Johnson, Stacey Augmon basketball team. And Al was talking about the Phoenix Suns and how how that franchise just developed as a family. And then I could recall a lot of times when Al and I would meet at the track. And Al was a tail handicapper. And what I mean by that, and I still use that because I still look at tails on horses. Al would say, we would look around and we'd stand there like two grown men, and we would stand there watching the horses parade out in the paddock, and we'd look at tails. If the tail was up the horse's butt, we throw him out. It had to be a perfect tail. And Al would come by, with the cigar, the stogie in his, big cigar in his mouth, He would come by me, and he'd come by, and if I missed looking at a race, and he'd go, hey, Felix, the 5 got tail. The 5 got tail. And the guy goes what's he talking about, the 5 got tail? They all got tails. And I go, yeah, well, it's a different looking. But Tommy D, he was a New York guy, went to Bowling Green, was a member of the Syracuse Nationals.
He played for Syracuse in the NBA.
That's right. Syracuse Nationals, which became the Philadelphia 76ers. Are you aware of that?
I was not.
Were you aware of that? Tommy D, the Syracuse Nationals are now known as the Philadelphia 76ers, Tommy D.
I did know that, a little Syracuse trivia. But, yeah, I'm anxious for Syracuse basketball to start. But, yeah, that's a little trivia out there. But, yeah, I'm excited for basketball to start up. But we got a great NFL card today to look at, too. But I know you're talking about your friends, so rest in peace. And, prayers go out to the family and friends, to everyone that loved the man.
Yeah, 81 years old. He had a great life. Basketball was his life. He really liked. And just to hear him talk, he was a New Yorker, Tommy D. He had that he had that little chip on his shoulders. I can remember. Let me just tell you a quick story about Al Bianchi. I can remember when, I think it was I'm almost sure it was in San Diego, the San Diego Sports Arena. The Suns were playing the Clippers, and the Suns were getting hosed. The officiating was horrible. And Al got so pissed off at the officiating that when the official was running down, he threw his clipboard at him, and it hit him in the hip. Okay, and all of a sudden, the clipboard goes off the hip, and the official turns around and throws him right out of the arena. The automatic ejection, 2 technicals out there. Al just was so into it. He was high octane, everything that he did. And I'll miss him. And I know you will. And would you please represent Tommy D and myself, Bob Hutton, when you go there today? Please sign our names and let the family know. Johnny, I talked to his wife, Johnny. I've known Luke ever since he was a pup. Al took Luke to Del Mar every summer, and he'll be missed. I want to get your take in regard to the New England Raven game, Bob Hutton. If the Steelers win and the Ravens lose, the Steelers get back into the AFC Central or the North, whatever. They're in the AFC North. So, what's your take in regard to the Ravens? Tommy D said there's a lot of good football games on this card. Tommy D, I'm coming to you next because I want to know what good ones you like. New England and Baltimore. What do you have in regard, Hut?
Well, when you look at the game and you break down the players, and I think that Baltimore is a little overrated. I don't think the AFC Central is a very tough division. And when you look at the hoodie getting ready for Jackson, and how to defense him, and how he's going to put a spy on him, and how he's going to take away the run and make him throw the ball. And then New England, they're just going to, they're going to dink and dunk you until they go ahead and they break your spirit. And New England's laying 3 points today. I like New England in this game, Felix, and I'm not one of these. I don't jump on these bandwagons with teams, but I'm playing New England based on I think their defense is going to cause some problems for Jackson, because I don't think you can be a quarterback that's a one-way quarterback, a run quarterback or a pass quarterback, because he'll take something away from you. He'll make you throw the ball. And I think that's what's going to happen in this game tonight. And I think that's not what Baltimore is going to be comfortable doing. So that's why I like New England in the spot tonight.
Pretty interesting call, Tommy D. I know I was asking you to pick another game, but what's your feel in regard to New England, Baltimore tonight?
You know what? I think it's going to be a great game. I don't know exactly what the under was, but that hit my ears. Last week I liked the Patriots. It's hard not to like this team. Baltimore, maybe Lamar Jackson could give them a little bit of trouble, but this defense is the real deal for New England. I guess if I had to take a side, I'd go with New England, but maybe take a look at the under. But this will be the game to watch today, I think. I agree with you there on this one, guys.
Oh, we're not watching. We got to bet. Which side would you bet, Tommy D?
Yeah, I don't know if I would touch that one. I guess if I had to, I would go with New England. But I do like Green Bay today.
That was one. You're a Packer now, huh?
Well, hey, you talked about it earlier in the show. There's going to be more cheeseheads up in L.A. than there is going to be for the Chargers. And guess what? This Charger team, you want to like them, but guess what? They disappoint you every time. Aaron Rodgers has the Packers rolling right now. Get some of the weapons back. I mean, Aaron Rodgers just knows how to manage the game. So as long as they get that lead and get up, I expect Green Bay. And their defense isn't too shabby either in Green Bay. So I expect Green Bay to cover the points there in this one. And also the other game that I really liked was probably going to be the Philadelphia against Chicago. Guys, I'm going with the Eagles. I know I was all over the Eagles last year. But the Eagles had a nice win. They've been winning. They beat the Packers. It was one of their best wins that they have. But the Eagles are I think that the Bears just look bad. They're allowing more points. Their defense is allowing more points over the last couple of weeks. So saying that, Eagles -4 at home. I know the Eagles are one of those teams that are like this or that, but they did beat the Bills with a good defense, 31-13. So in Philly, they're going to be cheering their Eagles on. We'll see. Maybe eating some cheesesteaks, but I like the Eagles today, -4.
Really?
I do.
I like
The Bears. It just, that defense, the Bears' defense in the beginning of the season was putting up a better performance. As of late, I feel like they're giving up a little bit more points and, not as stout as they were, but because they have no offense. So that's the problem. The defense is on the field more.
Yeah, good point there. We talked about the Eagles were in a must situation last week. A matter of fact, week to week, you got to look at these teams. They looked horrible, the Eagles, a week prior against Dallas. And they go into Buffalo and they blow the doors off the Bills. So, we talked about that game last weekend, and I talked about how they traded that DB because he was supposed to be the cancer in the locker room, and then Jennings, I believe, stood up and said, listen, we've got all these players now. We had a players' owner meeting, and we've got everything on the right track because the Eagles, quite frankly, looked horrible. The Bears have looked worse. I'm not so sure that this isn't a trap game. I think it is a trap game. Do you think this is a trap game, Bob Hutton?
Could be. And there's an old saying in the NFL that no team's as bad as they looked the prior week, and no team's as good. And that's why it's a little bit scary. This is a week-by-week league, and these guys are playing for jobs. They get paid a lot of money, and they got to be prepared to play every week. So when you look at this, you say, boy, the Bears, they went in the season, they were so optimistic, and they were gonna fight for the division title with Minnesota and Green Bay, obviously, and they haven't come through. And so this game for that reason worries me a little bit, Felix. That when are the Bears going to wake up and put a good foot forward and try to save their season? And this could be the week. When you look at the league in total. One of the big issues, if you look,
hold on.
NFC.
Hold on. What word was that? Did you say
in total?
In total?
Yeah.
Are we speaking French here? I mean, what do you mean?
No. I'm just using my vocabulary that I learned in junior high school.
I loved it. I love it. I mean, like we can share vocabularies with our listening audience. And so, in total, is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In total, continue on. Excuse me for the interruption.
The NFC is from top to bottom better than the AFC. Okay, they've got better teams and there's more balance in the NFC, especially on the top. And in the AFC, there really isn't. And when you looked at Philly, because I liked Buffalo last week, Philly manhandled Buffalo and made them look bad at home. And when you go back and look at the schedule that Buffalo had played, they played Miami and the Jets and I think they played Washington. I mean, they just didn't play a very good schedule. Or they play Washington today. They haven't played a very good schedule as far as that was concerned. And Philly had played a much tougher schedule, and it showed on the field last week. So I was just saying, going forward, when you see the AFC teams playing the NFC teams, I almost think you got to give the edge to the NFC, and that's why and I know you're going to think, boy, you're crazy. I like Washington today, Felix.
Yeah.
I like Washington going into Buffalo, getting double-digit points.
Yep. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, when you said a C minus, like this is a week that, and the more I think about it is that, last week I personally said Philadelphia has to win to save their season. And you come back this week and you talk about the Bears. See, this is week 9. I don't know if you were on the top of the broadcast when I said, okay, we're already, 9 weeks. This is no time to experiment. This is the time to get yourself into position for the playoffs because you don't want your divisions to be a runaway. And I was thinking about Chicago, that can they really be that freaking bad? I mean, come on. Can they? Like you said, no team is as bad or good, whatever the case might be. But then I'm thinking about the Baltimore and the New England game, knowing that this is a big game for the Ravens, because if the Ravens win and the Steelers lose, that means that the Ravens have either a 2 or 3 game lead in the division over the Steelers, and with 1 game to play. I think that's in Baltimore, if I stand correct. But anyway, these are games which doesn't seem like any rhyme or reason. Like, you can't bet Kansas City without Mahomes. How are you going to bet the Jets and the Dolphins with any confidence? Are you kidding me? Then Cleveland, who do they play again?
No Flacco, and Denver's beat up bad. I mean, they're really being banged up. So, and they go into Denver, and it's not so much if you watch Cleveland play this year, they're so mistake prone. They're so badly coached. I think it was a bad decision giving Kitchens that job. That's just my opinion, Felix. I think I watch them on the sidelines, and the team seems like they're just not in gel. They're not gelling together. And then you look at Denver, and they just, I think the Flacco thing was just that Elway got involved with was, I think it's just a mistake. I think he's on the backside of his career.
No, hold on. Stop right there. Stop right there. That you hit the nail right on the head. Where was indicative of what was going on. John Lynch is general manager of the 49ers, and, he played at Denver, and close relationship with John Elway. And when the Broncos traded Emmanuel Sanders to the 49ers, I thought, the league would jump in and say, this really makes the 49ers a contender now, Sanders. I mean, with Jimmy G playing is good, and you're saying that the 49ers are for real and so forth and so on. I cannot believe that there was no smoke at all in regard to Denver trading Emmanuel Sanders to his buddy's team, the 49ers. I would be at least a bit surprised that I'll go on a limb. This will be the last year that Elway runs the Broncos. He'll be a part of the 49er staff somewhere in a capacity, but Denver, you just can't. They can't stand. Their football team is everything. It's like a religion in most cities, but more so in Denver. I mean, if you would have seen the crowd at the Denver Charger game, it was all Denver. I mean, it's just like it's been all Pittsburgh, and like it'll be all Green Bay today.
Green Bay today, yeah.
Yeah, but I agree with you. Denver, but. The next man up. That's why, when they make these lines, they know there's no Flacco and everything. So if they add a couple of points more onto a favoritism role or an underdog role, whichever side it is, you really don't know what the correct number is. So you have to shop the right number. And the best way to make that decision is to do your data and pass on games that, have red flags. And the Cleveland's horrible. I mean, Freddie Kitchens. I mean, let me tell you something. I have seen some of the most bonehead moves in professional football in the last 2 weekends, not by players, but by coaches. This guy from Chicago, I don't know what he was thinking last week. And Freddie Kitchens, does Freddie Kitchens know that there are timeouts that you can take and then don't run the clock out and waste 40 seconds of the clock? Hut, the Browns, all this, hard knock about Super Bowl status. Are you kidding me? Win a division, win a couple games in a row. The Browns and then Mayfield, popping off to the media. OBJ not being, how can you pay this guy so much money, only throw to him 8 times? I mean, you got to get that guy the ball 15, 16 times a game. Don't you, Hut?
Yeah, and they got Landry on the team too, and he's a big-time receiver. I mean, they've got talent. And when you watch them play, you just say, what's Kitchens? What's he thinking? What's he doing? And even Chubbs is, he's had some good games, but they're so, I don't know if you've noticed this, Felix, they're so heavily penalized. I mean, every other play is and it's pre-snap stuff. It's not always holding. It's guys that are, there's 2 guys in motion at one time, and the illegal shift, and then they've got illegal procedure. And Garrett on the defense, he's always trying to jump the snap, and he's offside, and he gives the other team free plays. And I mean, it's boneheaded stuff that just you say, boy, when is this team gonna, when are they gonna have some discipline? And that's what they lack. They don't have any team discipline at all. And then Mayfield gets in the locker room afterwards, and reporters ask him questions, and he gets shitty with them and snotty with them, and just
I don't blame him. I really don't blame him. I mean, because I would feel that same. I mean, you've been horrible, dude, and coaching is the key. Coaching is the key. If you're getting penalized in week number 8, 3-1 versus the other teams, then you got to take a good look. And how many times we heard about this, Tommy D? There's no substitute for experience. Freddie Kitchen is not a head coach for the Cleveland Browns, Tommy D.
Yeah, I with you guys. He's he needs a little bit more learning. I don't think he's really ready for it. But it's and maybe you move on to the next one in Cleveland. Especially with the high hopes coming into the season, they thought maybe he could work with Baker Mayfield. Previous experience with quarterbacks, but in this situation, I honestly think that it might be time to move on already. I hate to say it, but yeah, maybe get somebody more experienced in to run this locker room. That's what you need, especially when you got big personalities in there. I mean, you got Mayfield, you got Beckham, and you also got Landry, all big personalities. So for saying that, I don't know what the Browns are going to do, but there was a very high hopes for them, and they're not really playing up to the level everyone thought they were going to be at.
Hey, let me ask you this. Have you heard the rumors? And somebody asked me up in Los Angeles yesterday. Somebody asked me, hey, what do you make of Tom Brady going to the Chargers? I said, Tom Brady to the Chargers? He goes, yeah. He says, I getting report that, or heard, or somewhere along the line, that
will never happen.
That
will never happen.
That's an April Fool's joke in November.
They were giving him a piece of the franchise.
No way.
It makes sense. He hasn't signed. He's selling all his houses in Boston.
He's a New England guy. How could you leave New England? He's got to finish as a Patriot.
I don't know, for a percentage of the Chargers going into the new stadium. Think about it.
Huh?
Well, wouldn't you, if you're going to do that, you want to give a percentage of it to a quarterback, wouldn't you give it to Mahomes if you ever had a chance?
No.
I mean,
no.
Because at least he's going to be around for years.
Well, Brady's what? How old's Brady?
I don't know. He's pushing 40, or he's around there.
For a quarterback.
How old is Brady? You guys should know that. Where's Matty B? Can you wake up Matty B? Matty B couldn't make it.
He's tied
into
to the
this
bed somewhere. He's tied to the bed somewhere.
And he kind of that was Halloween weekend. He liked it so much he did it again. I mean, at least he's getting some action. He's, I mean, I should speak.
You got to stick with what works, Felix.
Absolutely. So, Brains, how old is Brady?
Hold on, I'm working on it right now. I've got it right here. I'm pulling it up, and my internet's working a little.
Hold on,
slower.
forget it. Wade, come on in. Wade, come on in.
He's older than me.
How old is he, Wade?
He was
He's
born in
42.
19.
So that's 137 in regular people years.
All right, we go out to Wade out there in San Diego. Wade, how old is Tom Brady?
42.
Tom Brady, 42. Skidoo.
Oh.
So he'll sign a
He
3-year.
is from San Mateo, California, Felix. So maybe the Chargers. That's the only thing I can say.
What's that?
He's from San Mateo, California, so he is a California guy. That's the only thing I could say about that. But in my eyes, he's a Patriot.
Of course he's your Patriot. I mean, well, he's not a Buffalo Bill. He's a Patriot. But, I mean, hey, it makes sense. Because let me tell you something. The Chargers are in big trouble in Los Angeles. And moving forward, the league knows that they are in big trouble. They need identity, and they do not have identity. The Rams aren't running away with identity, but with the new stadium, the Rams will be Team A, and the Chargers will be Team B. Now, can two teams work in L.A.? One team can't work. I don't see how two teams can work.
I agree with you, Felix.
Compared to the NBA, the Lakers, and the Clippers. Okay? They both share each other's house. I don't care. The Clippers will never be a bigger brand than the Lakers. The Lakers are an international brand. They are huge. They are gigantic. You're not going to go ahead and overtake the Lakers. The Clippers will never overtake the Lakers. The Chargers will never be the number one team in Los Angeles. I don't care. The Rams have been there before. They staked their claim, so to speak. You'd agree with that, Bob Hutton, or no?
Yeah, they're the L.A. Rams. When they went to St. Louis, they were still to most people in L.A. they were the L.A. Rams. So in San Diego has never been the L.A. Chargers. I mean, even today, if you said, hey, what's the Chargers? Where are they from? Probably half the people would tell you San Diego, at least. And that's the problem they're going to have today, because the mentality of when you walk out of your locker room and you're supposed to have a home game and 90% of the people in the stands are cheering for the other team, it's got to be a little disheartening. And as far as the whole mentality of the team. And when we talked earlier about coaching, Felix, if you look at Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers' relationship and how they've managed to mesh and get along, and even LaFleur said, he goes, I defer to Rodgers, right? When they have different ideas, he'll let Rodgers do what he wants to do. And you could tell on the field, Rodgers is very happy and playing very well. And it's so when you go back to the head coaches, that means a lot. But back to the Chargers, they're in trouble. They are in trouble, Felix. And the worst thing they ever did is leave San Diego, because they had a legitimate fan base there that loved that team, and now people down there they almost hate them as far as what they've abandoned them. They feel like they've been abandoned.
Almost, not almost. They do. I know. It's sad, because I work for the Clippers, as I mentioned, and they moved to L.A. and the Chargers. Now we have two professional franchises. The Clippers and the Chargers have both scooted from America's finest city. And, there's always a story when you meet a Charger fan. You know, I was an avid Charger fan. Right now, I can't watch. Or I hate them. Or I hate Dean Spanos. Or I can never root for the Chargers again. And actually, against Tennessee, when Gordon fumbled and they had 2 touchdowns called back, there were people that after the Chargers lost in San Diego, in the room that I was watching, stood up and applauded because the Chargers lost. That's how much they hate the Chargers. Where's the best bets today? First you, Tommy D, where you going best bet-wise?
I like the Green Bay Packers. I think they're grooving Aaron Rodgers. I think they do it, take it down later today.
All righty. What about you, Bobby Hutt?
I've got 3 plays I want to make today. I want to bet the Washington Redskins plus 10.5. I'm going to bet over in the Carolina-Tennessee game. Since Tannehill's come in, their offensive has improved, and it's 42. And then I'm going to bet over in the Detroit and the Oakland game. And then tonight, make a 4th play. I'll probably play New England.
All right, hold on, man. Hey, you got the network going out there. You got the social media going out there, Wade. You got everything lined up. The television cameras, the big boom microphones. Bob Hutton's releasing. How many games are those? 4?
4.
Okay, so let's start again. Where are they?
We're gonna go Washington plus 10.5.
Washington plus 10.5. Does that come with a candle? You burn a candle while the game is going on. I mean, just like a prayer candle.
I get it. I get it. It's not an easy. It's a tough thing to embrace.
All right, go ahead.
And then we're going to play over in the Carolina game, over 42.
Carolina over 42. Okay, and
then we're going to play over 51 in the Detroit game.
Detroit over 51.
And then we're going to play the Patriots -3.
All right. There you have it.
And I do agree with Tommy. I think Green Bay is going to handle them pretty easily today.
Don't you like the over in that game?
In the Packer game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Because the San Diego Chargers defensive line, they've got like 4 defensive linemen that are out.
It's horrible.
They're going to, and you can't play Rodgers. You can't say, okay, we're going to make him throw the ball. He'll kill you. And they actually got a very good offensive line and a good running game. I just think they're in a really bad spot today, San Diego is.
Yeah, they've been in a bad spot the last couple of days. And, the last couple of weeks. And, they got lucky against Chicago. And, you reign supreme, Hut. I'm not blowing any smoke up your butt. But when you said that, a couple weeks back, 3, 4, 5, this is week number 9 now, that Phillip Rivers misses Antonio Gates, and you have a team that hasn't gained more than 40 yards on the ground the last 3 weeks. You don't win football games unless you run the football. I guess the marquee game for me this morning is Pittsburgh and the Colts. I'm not sold on my Steelers. Everybody asked me about my Steelers yesterday up there in Los Angeles. How's your Steelers? How's those Steelers? How's those Steelers? I'm not really excited. First of all, they should have signed Le'Veon Bell. If I was a general manager, I'd make that move 9 out of 10 times as quick as possible. And even there was trade talk that the Jets and the Steelers, the Jets were going to trade them back to Pittsburgh. I mean, they made a big mistake. Antonio Brown, I could understand, but the Steelers had to sign Le'Veon Bell. All right, we're going to do a whole wrap here as we wind it down. Want to thank Wade Taylor for getting us on the air. Want to also mention that that this broadcast for Al Bianchi, our friend and our comrade, our racing buddy, our basketball guru, and a longtime friend of Bob Hutton's and a longtime friend of mine. So in his memory, Al, you'll always be top shelf. For Tommy D, Bob Hutton, Matty B, handcuffed in the Big Easy. I don't know. I'd like to try that once or twice on a Sunday morning. We'll check in next week. Thanks, Hut, for everything. Tommy D, I'll ditto that. We'll be here on Track Talk coming right up here next on the WS Radio Network.
Have you tried DRF Formulator PPs at DRF.com? Take your handicapping to the next level with premium features not found in DRF Classic PPs, including one-click access to complete race charts, full-screen video replays with both standard and head-on views, add your notes for a card, horse, or trip, and access from any device. View Timeform US pace figures, get customized printing options, and so much more. Try DRF Formulator PPs today at drf.com/PPs.
Hi, everyone. Felix Taverna for Rough and Ready Moving and Storage. From down the street to across the country, if your move is too tough, you call Rough. That's my man, John Ruff, R-U-F-F, Rough and Ready Moving and Storage. Local or cross-country, military moves, corporate relocations, packaging, storage, they have it all in the Temecula Valley. That's roughandreadymoving.com. That's Rough and Ready, R-U-F-F, and readymoving.com. When you talk about San Diego legends, you got to talk about Big John at Tip Top Meats, a European delicatessen unlike anything in San Diego. You know, it's located in Carlsbad, and traditionally, it's been a fan favorite for many. Big John does it right. With the holiday season just around the corner, it's your best bet. Big John, Tip Top Meats, and top shelf fish. I mean, that's a daily double. You've been there, you know, it's legendary. The most trusted information provider in horse racing is now the leading logic in sports handicapping. The daily racing form has launched DRF Sports. Visit sports.drf.com to learn more and get the edge you need to win big. Access their exclusive database of trends and powerful angles for just $5 per week. And if you use promo code PENNY, you'll get your first week for just 1 cent. Visit sports.drf.com today. Hi, this is Felix Taverna, and I'm here to share with you a great place to begin your day, and that is the Broken Yoke Cafe. 15 San Diego locations to serve you. Downtown, Mission Valley, Bonita, East Lake, San Diego State, Point Loma, Mira Mesa, Del Mar, La Costa, Escondido, Oceanside, San Marcos, and Rancho San Diego. Benedict's, omelets, French toast, crepes, pancakes and waffles, sandwiches, wraps, burgers, soups, and salads. Start your day at the Broken Yoke Cafe.
Life is full of misadventures, from car crashes to home fires to getting choked out on the mat. Yes, I said getting choked out because I'm Carlos Kramer, jiu-jitsu competitor, MMA and media personality, and mild-mannered insurance agent. You can follow my adventures on Kick-Ass Radio, and I can protect you from life's misadventures at Kramer Insurance. Home, auto, life, business, and workers' comp, we're at KramerINS.com, and I want you to join my world.